On today's episode of the Welcome Distraction podcast with the Kemp Brothers, we're going to be talking about some of the most talked about moments in sports history. We're going to talk about some of the super shockers nobody saw coming, some sports that went off the rails, sometimes that was forever etched in our memories, hero or villain, and then some of the where were you when topics. A Philadelphia fan who did the unthinkable. Stick around and I'll tell you what that is.
This is the Welcome Distraction Podcast with the Kemp Brothers. Their immature stories, thoughts, and opinions are their own and should be taken with the same level of seriousness as a drunk uncle's late-night conspiracy theory. They are not responsible for any brain cells lost, friendships ruined, or questionable life choices made under their influence. Now buckle up, buttercups.
But thanks for coming back to us here at the Welcome Distraction. I will be your main Kemp Brother host today, Brett. And I've got Christopher and Nicholas, as always. Super shockers that nobody saw coming. Whatever could be that topic be. Yeah, you guessed it. It's some of the Super Bowl moments we think about. And the first one is the helmet catch. You guys remember that game?
I do. Big game.
Very much. Very much. Patriots and the Giants. David versus Goliath, right? What do you remember?
The Patriots were undefeated. They were, as a Dolphins fan, they were infringed upon the next perfect season. And if they were to win that Super Bowl, they probably would have been considered the greatest team of all time. So as a Dolphins fan, we did not want the Patriots to win. And they had, at that point, I think they already were in the Super Bowl all the time. So that was another reason. It was a hell of a game and didn't see that one coming.
And the moment that sticks out in everybody's mind is the infamous helmet catch, where Eli Manning threw it and the wide receiver miraculously caught it against his helmet, somehow sticking to his helmet like he had chewing gum on his helmet.
3rd and 5 for the Giants. 1:16 to go. Manning takes the snap. Back to throw. Under pressure. Avoids the rush, and he's going to fight out of it. Still fights out of it. Now throws it deep downfield. Tyree, who makes the catch at the 22-yard line. What a play by Manning. And what a catch by Tyree.
Manning airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree. Tyree just goes up for it like a basketball player. Harrison trying to knock it down. Pressing it against his helmet as he goes to the ground.
From there, they go on to win the Super Bowl. It was pretty amazing.
I mean, it wasn't just the catch either, though. Eli Manning had to do some crazy...
Who can get away? And it looked like he was going to be sacked, and he miraculously got away.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to be down, and if they get him down, that's probably the ball game. But he somehow got away.
That was it.
Throws the ball
Kept
up.
hope alive.
Oh, my God, it was crazy. I remember it like it was yesterday.
What's the other Patriots Super Bowl moment that you remember?
So another one that I remember because I was in the Air Force. I got to be on the national anthem pregame before the game started, but it was Seahawks versus Patriots. Again, great game, back and forth. And then it came down to Seattle was driving, Marshawn Lynch, he's running down the field, the beast, with the Skittles and all that. And they're like, give him the ball. They're going to run the ball, right?
He's going to run.
At the 2-yard line. Come on. There's plenty of time, right? I think they even had a timeout. And what do? They passed the ball, and I believe it was Bryant. Malcolm jumped in front and boom, intercepted the ball. As he's catching the ball, you go back and look at he's actually in the end zone, intercepting it and falling out. Either way, they intercepted it, and it looked like for sure Seattle's win. But no, Patriots won again.
2nd down and goal from the 1 after the 4-yard run by Marshawn Lynch. Clock still moving, down to 36. Russell is taking his time.
Russell Wilson extends the hands he has. Wilson, quick throw. And it's
intercepted!
Intercepted by Malcolm Butler! Malcolm Butler stepped in front of the throw!
No way!
A lot of people are going to second guess that call on the 1-yard line, not giving it to Marshawn.
You are on the 1-yard line, and you have number 24, and you drop back pass. Are you kidding me?
Good times for the Patriot fans.
And then you can't talk about big Super Bowl moments without talking about 28-3. Patriots again versus the Atlanta Falcons. The game that was all but over.
Yeah, how much you want to bet?
Patriots.
There had to be people that were at that game that left.
Yeah. They left. I paid all this damn money to watch them get their ass kicked by the Atlanta Falcons.
I remember I was at First Sergeant Academy getting ready to start day one the next day, so I'm stuck in my hotel watching the game. One of my military buddies went to the academy with me. Huge Patriots fans. And of course, like we said, we hate the Patriots. Went back to my room thinking, this is great. Patriots are going to lose the Super Bowl. Nothing better.
It's on
the
cruise
day that the
control.
Patriots.
It's in the bag.
The day that they get eliminated from the playoffs, we celebrate, right? And so I'm going to bed thinking they're going to go down.
Mhm.
No, I guess the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history.
What? Go Falcons. Nice job. Go Broncos. Go Colts. Yep. You two beat it. Don't ever come back. No autographs. Unbelievable. Lady Gaga goes missing, and now this happens. Worst day ever.
Yeah, there's some big Super Bowl moments. I know there's a bunch of other ones too, the catch and, what the Steelers did over the years, but we don't have time to talk about them all. So some other big moments that I like to reminisce about. I think I was like 2, the Miracle on Ice.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't see that. The call by Al Michaels, do you believe in miracles?
10 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Cold War era shit where the commie Russians versus U.S. bunch of young kids, and somehow they pull off the unthinkable.
Yeah, because they were
Yeah.
mostly collegiate. They weren't pro hockey players, so nobody gave them a chance at all whatsoever. And they were really kind of a bunch of misfits put together, and they did the unthinkable. Even now, as people get older, they hear about that and they're like, "Wow, I didn't know that happened."
Yeah.
That's a pretty good
Seems
movie.
like
Huh?
it really
Kurt
is.
Russell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good movie too.
He was the
Good-
coach.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
movie.
All right, switching to another sport. If you had to say what moment shocked everybody in a boxing ring, this immediately pops into anybody who is alive knows what it is, and those that weren't alive then, they've come to know that the time Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear off.
What happened here?
He got bit, I think.
Evander Holyfield, look out, he's pushed right here, above us by Tyson.
He's got bit in the ear.
Oh my goodness, he's got a bloody right ear. Holyfield bit by a dirty Mike Tyson.
I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Yeah, you never thought you'd put those words together in the same sentence, but sure as shit, I think it was late 90s. They got into a tight clinch, and the fight really wasn't going Tyson's way, and bites a huge chunk of Evander Holyfield's ear off.
Yeah, if
Like,
you've
what the
never seen
hell?
this, people will probably be like, "What? Bite the guy's ear off?" He tried to do it once, and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And then he did it again, and no
Just over
kidding,
it.
you see a chunk of Evander Holyfield's ear come off. You first see Holyfield grab his ear and jump up and down.
Yeah.
And you're like, no way that just happened. You're looking forward to seeing him fight again, and he goes and does some shit like that. And you're
They
like,
know he was
"Damn
fighting
it."
prison rules still.
Yeah. That was definitely a shocker as well.
Switching gears to another sport that was in the mid 90s, college basketball championship. If you had to pick a time where things went wrong, not according to the plan, how about when Chris Webber called a timeout in the NCAA men's basketball championship and he had no timeouts?
He
So
was
what
nervous.
happens when you do that?
Yeah. Technical.
Long, a 2 to tie. Michigan will have to bring it.
Oh, he
straight.
walked. He walked and the referee missed it.
Weber brings it into the front court. They have no timeouts
Oh, he
remaining.
causes too many timeouts. That's a technical foul.
He called a timeout. Michigan doesn't
Yes.
have any.
He got by with a walk, and Jimmy calls a he calls a timeout. He doesn't realize that's Michigan's too many, and so it'll be a technical foul. North Carolina shooting and the ball. A huge mental mistake.
Yeah, so that was Michigan, the Fab Four, right? Jalen Rose, Chris Webber, I think Juwan Howard as well. And so that was it. They were supposed to win it. No, but it didn't work out as well.
He was trying to inbound the ball, right? And he was running out of time. And he freaked out and called
and he was
timeout.
kind of falling out of bounds as he was doing. He was getting pushed in the corner, and he went to call a timeout, and he did not have any more,
Oh, geez.
resulting in a technical and pretty much icing the game.
Yeah.
So it was a terrible way to see a game end. But I do remember watching
It's
that.
very anticlimactic. Yeah.
Yeah.
when you wanna
But Chris
see-
Webber's gone on to have a heck of a NBA and that analyst job. You know,
Yeah.
you don't
Don't have
age
to worry about
either.
them timeouts now,
Still
right?
looks the same. Only
Yeah.
TV timeouts.
So in the same sport, another crazy event, and if you don't know about this one, I'm sure we're going to provide a clip. It was called the Malice at the Palace.
The Malice at the Palace. Things got heated between the Indiana Pacers and the Detroit Pistons at the Detroit Pistons home arena. and fans started getting involved. I believe beer was thrown and they went back and forth, whatnot. So in the end, 9 players were ejected, 5 fans were arrested, and then 146 games of suspensions were handed out by the NBA, totaling over $162,000 in fines.
And somebody should just get Jackson out as quickly as possible. The problem is, if Wallace is ejected, I'm not sure. He'd have to walk past the Pacer bench to go. Now Artest has jumped over the scorer's table and is trying to get down to the bench. Artest is in the stands. Oh, this is awful. Fans are getting involved. Steven Jackson's in the fans. Rasheed Wallace going into the stands. The security trying to somehow restore order. Fans and players are going at it.
This brawl really changed kind of what it meant for a brawl to happen within sports. There's always been bench clearing, whether it be baseball or things of that nature, or football having to be pulled over. But this was the first time I remember where NBA and fans really crossed the line and literally went into the stands fighting. So it changed a lot of things in security for the NBA and probably major sports overall.
That was
the
crazy.
Malice and Palace. Yeah.
The fans,
Ron
the way they were
Artest.
involved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ron Artest was the big one, who now goes by Meta World Peace.
Yeah.
He's come a long way, but man,
Yeah.
that was a crazy night.
All right, so moving along. How about bicycling? You know, the Tour de France. When you think about that, you usually think of Lance Armstrong, the one-nut wonder. Wait, whoop, just kidding. He had testicular cancer, and that's a terrible thing. But what Lance Armstrong did in the sport of bicycling,
Yeah, the 7-time Tour de France winner.
only to find out later, after all this time, I think Oprah was involved in him actually telling the truth.
Yeah.
But after years and years of denying all these allegations because of the doping that ran rampant throughout the sport in all the different countries, he finally fessed up. He just decided he was going to
Yeah, I think
come
a
clean.
lot of evidence was coming out, and somebody wrote it like
Yeah,
a
he probably just decided-
manifest or something.
I don't know how they didn't find it sooner. You know,
Well, I mean, the
7
documentaries
times.
that are out there, they talk about how they were cleaning blood and all kinds of crazy shit. Like it was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a 30 for 30, I believe, about it. You know, and they'd pull up to the van and do like blood transfusions right there in the van, and one person would jump out and go, and they change out riders for the team, and of course he would be the main one in the face of the sport. And I think U.S. Post Office, remember all the advertising he did for so long. There's an iconic picture of him laying on his couch with his 7 Tour de France posters or whatever trophies.
He was such a huge celebrity.
TV show, movie guest appearances.
I mean, just remember how many times he threatened people for calling him a cheater and everything.
Lawsuits and
Well, he ate that, didn't he?
yeah, and he lost pretty much everything with that. But you can't take away the moments, no matter what. Even in these other sports where you vacate wins and you take it back, you're still not really robbing them of that moment and what they got to be recognized. You don't cancel parades because they've already happened. Or
or if you hand a win to another team who was their loser, it's not like they got to celebrate, not like they got to enjoy it. They're like, oh hey, like in the Olympics when someone guys get disqualified for whatever sport it is, and they're like, oh hey, we're taking your gold medal and we're gonna give it to this guy. So yeah, it goes down in the books. You don't get to stand on the podium. You don't get to do that.
So was he banned? Was he banned from like the biking world?
I think it was already all after he was done too. But I mean, he became blackballed, and he's just never going to be part of that. He lost all kind of advertisement deals. It's good TV.
Yeah, it's pretty good
TV. But real quick, like, subscribe, find our stuff all over the platforms. Doesn't cost you anything, so we appreciate it. So back to it. When you think of other sports in baseball, probably the biggest controversial time of our lifetime was when old Pete Rose gambled on baseball. And later in the years, he admitted to it, and he would even sign his baseballs. Sorry, I bet on baseball. Pete Rose. And unfortunately, the all-time hits leader with over 4,000 hits is not currently in the Hall of Fame. But since he's passed away, I think he'll eventually get into Cooperstown like he rightfully should have been all this time. He bet on baseball when he was coaching the Cincinnati Reds. He was trying to fight his way back into baseball's good graces.
It would have been nice to see him get in before he died, but I think you're right. Now that he's gone, they'll probably go ahead and lift the ban. I think they'll do the same thing with Shoeless Joe Jackson. For those that don't know, Shoeless Joe was involved in the 1918,
I think that's
1919
around there.
World Series by the White Sox, later known as the Black Sox.
It's what the movie Field of Dreams is based on.
Field of Dreams.
Shoeless Joe
I think
Jackson.
8 Men Out is another good one with some young, soon-to-be famous actors.
Yeah.
Sad story. I won't go too much into it, but if you watch the movie, it's really good. Talks about how well he played during the World Series, that he did participate in it, but he did not hold back. Like, he had the highest batting average on the team, most home runs, most RBIs. He balled out, but because he put his X on the paper, which a lot of them were forced to take the money because Comiskey, I think, was the owner, was like really cheap and wouldn't pay him. So
Yeah.
really stunk. But yeah, hopefully he gets into the Hall of Fame too.
So along with baseball, you can't think of controversial times without thinking of the old steroid era. I mean, man, that ball was juiced back then.
Yeah, chicks dig the long ball.
Yep. So you had, when you think of steroid users in baseball, who do you think of? Who comes to your
A
mind?
couple people come to mind. Barry Bonds, for sure, because he's the home run king, right? You know, and obviously how his body changed over the years and things of that nature. But I mean, I give it to him.
Hall of Fame.
Just because you're big doesn't mean you get home runs. There was obviously a lot of skill. I think eventually he should be in the Hall of Fame, whether you like it or not. You let him lead all these categories. Another guy that comes to mind who was more of a face of it, Mark McGwire. Because that bat just looked like a little twig in his hand when he went to the home run derby in Boston, and he's putting them out into the next town over. It was really something to watch. It was fun to watch. You know?
Yeah.
Heck, let him do it.
Sosa is another one. You couldn't
Sammy
have Mark
Sosa.
McGwire without Sammy Sosa at that time because they were competing for the single season home run record. Yep, and then I think of Jose Canseco, but there were so many others that were involved in that.
Yeah,
What's
just
that?
what everybody did.
The Bash Brothers, Jose Canseco,
yeah.
Mark McGwire.
And then Alex Rodriguez, he was one that somehow managed to survive it-ish on the later side of that. He got suspended for a year after he admitted to it, and then he still parlayed that into an analyst commentary job. And, he maintained, I think, a lot of his financial gain and prospects that he had. So he's done pretty good for himself, but he's still not in the Hall of Fame because it's forever tainted. So whether or not they ever get the votes needed, but I think they'll see their way in there too somehow, some way, when everybody's forgiven them enough to vote them in.
Roger Clemens is in there and is grouped in with all those.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think eventually they'll all get in. Eventually they'll just come to terms with the fact that that was the steroid era. And, yes, they were juicing and giving themselves an advantage, but they were still amazing ball players.
Well, no, the thing is, there's got to be a few other people that are in the Hall of Fame that were doing it.
Just didn't get caught.
Even if it was proven, I mean, would they take them out of the Hall of Fame? Have they ever removed anybody later?
Vacate their win?
Yeah,
Okay.
So
They ain't doing that.
It's the nature of the game. People have been doing everything they can since the invention of baseball to try to get an edge.
In baseball, too, some of the more positive moments within baseball and stuff, going way back when, July 4th, 1939, that was when Lou Gehrig gave his luckiest man on the face of the earth speech.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Shortly after being diagnosed with what would become to be known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and unfortunately affect his future to be able to play baseball. But he was also known as the Iron Horse, and that record would stand for a long, long time before eventually be broken by another baseball great, Cal Ripken Jr., and that was the 2,131 games that he broke the record.
I've seen a lot of things in professional sports, but never in my life have I seen anything like this.
Eventually going on for 2,632 games. And that was definitely a moment I remember when we were in our teens when he broke that record. Another record that everybody, when they think about that, is like, it will stand the test of time. It will never be broken. Switching up to yet another sport. How about when Alex Ovechkin broke the all-time goals record?
Try to force it to him if he's open. Here is Ovechkin. Shoots. He scores! He scores! Number 895!
He's got over 900 and some odd goals now and still going. And that's another one of those records that you think there's no way it's ever going to get broken.
Yeah, because it's such a longevity thing, especially hockey and all the injuries they get. And
how the hell do you stay healthy?
How many teeth
long?
they go through?
Getting beat up every night and getting right back out there. Those guys are men. They're true men. Yeah.
Where they allow fighting and beat the crap out of each other and cheer it and everything else. Yeah.
So kind of in the baseball to basketball world, because they intersected in this moment, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the great hero and villain, Michael Jordan. You know, so remember that when he retired from basketball, he had some crazy stuff going on in his life. He had accomplished it all, 3-time champion. And sadly, his father was murdered in North Carolina. And I think Michael Jordan just didn't know how to go on playing the sport that he loved without the man that he loved, his father, who was always there supporting him through thick and thin. And he lost his love for the game. So he retired.
When I lose the sense of motivation and the sense of to prove something as a basketball player, it's time for me to move away from the game of basketball. It's not because I don't love the game. I love the game of basketball, I always will. I just feel that at this particular time in my career, I've reached the pinnacle of my career. I've achieved a lot in that short amount of time, if you want to call it short. But I just feel that I don't have anything else for myself to prove.
And number 23 sat down and he decided he was going to play baseball. And he played for the Barons, I believe it was, the Chicago affiliated AA club.
I think it was the Birmingham Barons.
That's it, Birmingham Barons. Yeah. And he wasn't that good.
He tried.
You know, so he stepped away for a while.
He's better than most, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody can play. So he had some moments. But I think it was because he was Michael Jordan was why he was playing. And then he came back, and that was another big moment in basketball. He came back. He wasn't allowed to wear the number 23 when he first came back, and he had to wear the number 45, which was awkward and weird, and eventually the NBA relented and let him have his own damn number back.
Number 45, Michael Jordan. Today, Michael Jordan, at age 32, tries to accomplish what no one else truly has in team sports history. What a pass from Jordan! Walking it back, Michael Jordan.
It's going to take a little bit till I get my timing back, but hey, I'm back. That's all that matters.
So, and then he went on to win 3 more championships. And I was not a fan of Michael Jordan, but I still had to respect the talent. He's the GOAT. He did whatever he wanted with the basketball. He did it in a much shorter time than a lot of these other ones out there when you start talking about the GOAT. But that's a conversation for a different episode. Everybody loves the Philadelphia fans because they are both heroes and villains in their own mind and at any given moment. From one quarter to the next or from one half to the next, depending on what sport you're talking about, they turn on their teams like no other's business. City of brotherly love, more like brotherly hate. They're also going to, turn on you in a dime.
It's the only place where they have to lube up the light poles after you win because they're going to climb them and tear them down. And this is when they're celebrating a win. Their fans are crazy.
So I can speak from firsthand experience just in the last couple of years. Their fans will turn on their team like no other. I was at a 76ers game and they showed a couple of their Philadelphia Eagles sitting courtside and they're having a good year. Current champions have a great record, but they are on like a 2-game skid, and the fans just booed the shit out of it. And you're like, what the heck is going on? Crazy. It was something. But hey, so I promised you a Philadelphia fan story. So let me read this to make sure I get it right. But in a video shared on social media, a group of screaming Eagles fans surrounded one particularly emboldened fan who knelt in the street next to a pile of horse manure. After much encouragement from his fellow savages, this fan bent down and picked up a piece of horse shit with his mouth.
That's disgusting.
Only in Philadelphia would somebody stoop to doing something like that.
And that was celebrating a win.
Yeah, this was like in 2017, 2018. Like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, so he probably died of dysentery. But hey.
He died of dysentery.
And them Philly fans is crazy.
Hey, I'll give it to them. Their fans, when that stadium, especially baseball, they're cheering every ball and strike. Like, damn it. They'll turn on you in a heartbeat, but man, they can get that crowd going into a frenzy. So I admire that. I just they don't like them when we're playing them.
They don't sit down very much. And then you think of the time where old Santa was hit by snowballs. Santa is coming out as part of a promotional thing the team was doing, and they just started pelting the shit out of a guy in a Santa costume.
And then I started getting hit with them.
And all of a sudden, Santa Claus is dodging and ducking, and there's a full stadium full of people just wailing away at Santa Claus.
I actually remember feeling a little twinge of anxiety that they might really hurt Santa. I remember watching a fella make a snowball and throw it at me, and I just walked up to him, at the bottom of the wall there, and I said, "You're not getting anything for Christmas."
It was like that thick ice shit.
Yeah, it's dangerous. You're lobbing it from, the second, third level.
It's coming
down. You're like, oh my.
Dude, is the slush ice crab, and dude's getting pelted and everything.
Kids are in the stands watching Santa get murdered.
I'm not going to get my gifts because Santa's dead on the Eagles field.
Bleeding out on the field.
Sports is iconic, and it can provide so many ups and downs. And it often can bring about times where you can think back of exactly where you were when something happened. There's moments in history that provoke that, but there's also moments in sports that provoke that too. And we're just going to touch on a few of those moments. You can think of a lot of times where you were when a championship happened, but also more that kind of does makes that core memory for you is when some really terrible things happen in different sports. And first one is NASCAR. When you think of a crazy incident that happened is when Dale Earnhardt died at the Daytona 500. Yep. It was coming down at the very end of the race, and Sterling Marlin unfortunately got into the back of Dale Earnhardt and got him loose, and it sent him directly 90 degrees up the track into the wall. And they didn't have the safety harnesses the way they do now with the HON system, what they had back then. While his own son, Dale Earnhardt Jr., was on the track and finishing. And there's iconic moments where he's running to find out and trying to get more information as Dale Earnhardt was taken to the hospital. And unfortunately, he passed away.
You got him, Mikey. You got him, man. You got him. Come on, man. Come on, baby. Come on. Get him in the fold. Get him in the 3-car down. Oh, big trouble. Big wreck behind him. Lead him back. Come on. To the flag. Come on, Mikey. You got it, man. You got it. You got it. You got it. You got it. Mikey.
Michael Waltrip wins.
Oh, man.
This is great. I just hope Dale's okay. I guess he's all right, isn't he?
You okay? You okay?
Saw the crash and saw the cars sitting over there and saw the ambulances and everything, and it looked really dramatized and really dramatic looking, and it just looked odd.
This is undoubtedly one of the toughest announcements that I've ever personally had to make. But after the accident and turn 4 at the end of the Daytona 500, we've lost Dale Earnhardt.
He was the face of NASCAR at that time, too, so that was huge. That was a big moment, I think a lot of people knew where they were the time that happened.
And this happened in I remember because I was at the next race in Rockingham, North Carolina, and lap 3 came around, and that's when everybody put up number 3, and it was a big moment of silence. Nobody tried to pass each other for old number 3, who defined the sport of NASCAR.
And for those of you that may not be NASCAR fans, Daytona 500 is like the Super Bowl of racing, and that was always the coveted race that Dale Earnhardt was yearning to win. And I think he'd only won it like a year or two before that.
And I think it took him 20 or 21 times to finally win it. And it was a big deal. So, it was definitely on the heels of him I've just won it not long ago.
So another somber sports moment was after this member had already retired. Only shortly after, though, was it was just 6 years ago that when Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash. And that was another moment where everybody kind of remembers. And with social media and being able to reach out and send information, it travels so quickly, but it was still something that was so hard to believe. Like,
so shocking. Yeah.
Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash, and unfortunately, there was other members that died too. They were going to his daughter's basketball game and taking some friends and other parents with him. And the pilot was in rough terrain, mountainous range,
Fog,
with some dense fog, and unfortunately, they crashed and perished. So they did change the time limit to allow a member to join the Hall of Fame because of that situation. Usually, it's I think 5 years after you retire. Within that year of Kobe Bryant's passing, they made an exception and inducted him into the Hall of Fame. He's in that conversation too of the GOAT, both number 8 and 24.
Right.
Yeah, so something that wasn't so somber, but we talk about golf. We haven't talked about golf much, but an iconic moment. You can't think of golf without thinking of Tiger Woods, and everybody's still hoping for him to pull off more victories. He's done it almost more than anybody. Jack Nicklaus still has the most majors. But Tiger Woods come back winning the 2019 Masters after everybody had written him off, after he had been through so much in his personal life.
Surgeries,
He came back and won in epic fashion, and it was pretty amazing.
At 18, Tiger completes one of the greatest comebacks in Masters history, one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. He wins his 5th green jacket.
Yeah, to see that full circle, to see everything he had gone through, the surgeries, the pain, the I think transgressions, as he called it, and to hit the lows and then be back there to win it, and then have his kids there, and they're reuniting on the course after he won it. Yeah, that was really one of the most iconic moments defining his career, when a lot of people have kind of given up on him. That was an amazing moment.
Still pulling for him. All right, well, we've got time for a little bit of honorable mentions. The pine tar game, that was a huge one in baseball, where George Brett had too much pine tar on his baseball bat. At least that's what the umpire said after he hit a home run. An iconic scene where he comes running out of the dugout.
So
Are
mad.
you kidding me?
Yeah, ready to
that
kill the
one
ref.
still is on the highlight reel for ages to come.
He's out. Yes, Brady is out. Look at this. Brady is out. And Damon Matt.
He is out forcibly and having to be forcibly restrained from hitting the plate umpire, Tim McClellan.
And that was a crazy rule with it, where they would use the width of the plate, and if the pine tar covered beyond that much of the bat, then they said it was illegal. So yeah, that iconic video of the home plate umpire putting it on the plate, lifting it up, and then pointing at him and ringing him up.
You're like, what? It looked like he was going to kill him.
I don't know how he restrained himself.
And then you've got other ones that less notoriety, but it depends on who you root for. The tuck rule with Brady way back in the day, that changed how they look at a forward pass in big games or all games. He was going to make a pass, but he decided to tuck it. NHL, they used to have ties in NHL before they decided ties suck.
I could not imagine going to a sporting event and leaving just where you began with no winner.
It still blows my mind that the NFL allows ties. They need to get rid of that shit.
And it's funny, every time it happens, every couple of years it happens, it seems like. And players still do not know the rule that
what?
We can tie?
You can tie?
We can tie?
I didn't even know that.
Well, because people are thrown off, because when it goes to the playoffs, there's obviously no tie, and you're going to play like it's a new game. And I don't know if they've ever gotten to a double overtime game, but yeah, you're going to keep playing. There's going to be a winner. But during the regular season, you can actually tie. And it messes up the standings. It looks silly.
It's so anticlimactic. You walk home, you're like, the fans, I guess we don't talk shit to each other this time, because
hey, wait
halfway there.
Not lose or win.
Yeah, thanks.
They need to change the overtime format. I mean, they've updated it like 3 or 4 times over the last 5 years. I think college has it figured out. I like the way college does overtime. NFL should just adopt that.
I wouldn't mind the college way for regular season, but I do like the current format for playoffs, because you want to see them keep battling the way they had battled the whole game or whatnot.
Even the NHL, they decided they had enough over ties, and I think in the early 2000s, they decided to go away from their format where you would just tie after 3, and that was it. So now you go to a 5-minute overtime, 3-on-3, and if that doesn't work, then you go to a shootout. At least somebody's going to win. They learned from their feedback that, hey, the fans want to see somebody walk away with an L and somebody walk away with a W. And it's going to affect the standings and change things a little bit more instead of the tie.
I say just go straight to the shootout. Everybody loves a shootout.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm always secretly, I like penalty kicks and shootouts.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us here on the Welcome Distraction Podcast. We're not going to leave you unsatisfied or undistracted here with a tie. I am your host, Brett Kemp.
I'm Chris.
I'm Nick.
And we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll see you. Peace.